Welcome back. This is the last one. We are at the end. We've been at it now for more than 8 hours, and we are finally at the last class warrior. This is the Lightforge podcast, Grinning Goats card review for the arena of the expansion Voyage to the Sunken City. This is ADWCTA.
Hi, this is Merps. Once again, we're going to talk about colossal units. They are the best.
The biggest.
They're the biggest. They're the best. They just always are. We're going to talk about Nelly. All right, it's Nelly the Great Thresher. This was also an S plus, or was it an S?
This is an S plus. This is a big S plus.
This is a really good one. 7 mana for a 5/5 beast, colossal +1, battle cry, discover 3 pirates to crew Nelly's ship. And then you have Nelly's ship. It's a 5 mana 2/6 beast taunt with death rattle. Add Nelly's pirate crew to your hand. They cost 1. So you get to discover 3 pirates, and then you get a 5/5 plus a 2/6 taunt, which is already really pretty good for 7 mana. And then you get the pirates to come out at some point after
For
this
3
thing dies.
total mana.
For 3 total mana. So huge amount of value with the pirates, a lot of initiative as well, and just really, really freaking good. Like, you get tons of stats, you get reload, and then the cheap reload, and then a lot of those can charge, they can just dredge, they can do a lot of stuff. Like, the pirates are quite good. So,
And
yeah,
they can be pretty big too.
they can be really big. I looked at it initially, I was like, pirates. It's like, okay. No, you being able to discover 3 pirates is really, really good. So this is a ton of reload, and then so cheap. So yeah, this ends up being stupidly good. Once again, the theme is just colossal units are stupidly good, and then you really have to look at something like the priest colossal unit to be like, wow, this is just like pretty fair. It's just overstated. You can kill it. It doesn't provide limitless amounts of value. The appendages like don't, I don't know, like it immediately like put you at a huge disadvantage. But yeah, here it is. Your only hope is that like you can kill them right away, but also the second body taunts.
Yeah, I
So
was about
that's
to
a little
say,
bit harder.
this is not one of those where you could kill them right
You
away.
have to be able to kill them like right away, right away. Also, this comes out turn 7, so that's pretty tough. That's really the problem with these. For example, like Krabatoa comes out turn 6.
Like,
That's really
when you're
hard.
building this game, I don't know how you can make these things come out at turn super early. These are things like Blizzard's done this before. They create these 10 mana cards, these 9 mana cards. They're absolutely ridiculous. And now they're power creeping, not by making things even better because it's kind of pointless at that point. They're just making the manas lower. And when you make the manas lower like that, you make the upper manas even more irrelevant. Because how are you going to get better than this? Like, what's the 8-drop version of Nelly look like? Nelly is already 5/5 plus 3 more pirates that probably average stats of some rough equivalent to like 4/4 or 5/5. That's going to come out a turn later for 3 more mana, and then a 2/6. Like, all of that for 10 mana that you can start playing on turn 7. How are you going to get better than that? Like, this is not one of those where there's initiative or whatever, so it is not as good as the Warlock one. It is not as good as the Hunter one. But it's right, it's really close to there. This is still all in the S plus territory. Yeah, like you play it and you win. You don't get through this. Like, this may not have initiative, but your opponents do not get through this and win the game. It's just too much tempo.
Okay. Next, we are going to B plus card. So no A's. We have a B plus epic minion. It is a 9 mana, 8/9 beast, and I've heard this a million times. People are like, "Oh, did you know that this is the only one of its like stat line?" And that, yes, thank you. This is a very interesting fact that's been spammed a million times. I'm a little bit cranky right now, but 9 mana, 8/9 beast, battle cry, attack 3 different random enemies. So this is going face. Like you
Mm-hmm.
want it to go face at least once, right? And then to kill off some things. It's good. It's just expensive. It does
Mm-hmm.
attack, right? So it does have initiative. You not being able to control it doesn't matter a lot of the times, but it does
It
matter
matters
some of the time.
sometimes. It's
Yeah, it
not
matters
like that's what's
sometimes.
holding it back. If your opponent has a
Yeah.
board of like small stuff, well, can you manage to go face? Who knows? Or if your opponent has some like mid-sized stuff, can you even get 3 attacks off? They could deal 9 damage to this thing before it gets its third attack off.
Yep.
Like this is there's some downsides to this that make it not super ridiculously amazing good and just night captain levels of good. And of course the fact that it's 9 mana. Like this is 9 mana and Nelly is 7. Like I just don't know what Hearthstone's doing anymore. Um, it's also an epic card. You're not going to see it very often, and I don't know what kind of constructed things this is supposed to do, but I'm guessing something happened to it, which is why it's not a 9/9. Like they had to nerf it in the end for some reason, and they're just like, screw flavor. Like we can't have it this way. I don't really understand it. There are 3 heads. 8 does not divide by 3. I'm very confused by this card.
Well,
And
no, it's each head is dealing the 8 damage. You're not dividing it, because if you're dividing it, it would be 3 damage, right? But you're always dealing 8.
oh,
Each head is dealing 8. That's what it means. Each head has an attack power of 8.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm less pissed off about this card now.
Yeah. That's how it works.
All right. Well, that's a B plus card. Now you got 2 B cards. These you'll actually see because they're not epic. One is Asheron's Trident. It's a weapon. It's one of the only weapons for Warrior in this. Not just it is the only weapon for Warrior in this expansion. It is one of the only weapons for Warrior in the arena in the upcoming rotation.
All right, so we looked at it. Here's exactly the weapons that are in the rotation, or this upcoming rotation. You have Fiery War Axe from Core. That's okay. That's good. You will draft it. You have Gore Howl. That's epic. Assuming the epic bug does not come back, you don't get many of those.
Mm-hmm.
You have Curse Blade. That's a never pick. You have N'Zoth's First Mate. That's very good, right? That's very good. So we count that. Tentacles for Arms. You are never drafting that. If you do, you have made a mistake. You have King's Defender, which is fine. It's just, like a Fiery War Axe 2.0, right? But it's a rare, so it's not super common. You have Blacksmithing Hammer. It's a rare, first of all. Plus, it's not very great, so you're probably not drafting it that much. And then you have the Trident, and then that's it. So you really are, like, the good weapons are N'Zoth's First Mate, and then you have Fiery War Axe. You have the Trident. You maybe have King's Defender. You maybe have, like, Gore Howl thrown in there, so you can count it as, like, a 0.5 or something. So yeah, you have like 3.5 weapons that you are looking to draft, which means if you have 3.5 weapons available, you're going to get like 1.5 weapons in each deck. Those are the numbers you're looking at there. This is why it's not a great time to be a warrior. And if you're thinking, wait, Merps, I remember in this meta we had a lot more. You also had War Cash. You had the epic bug, which meant, and if you guys played Warrior at all during the epic bug, and I know KekW playing Warrior, but if you played Warrior at all, you'll know that during the epic bug, you had a lot of opportunities to draft Gore Howl, such that during that time you could even be like, well, I don't have to take this Gore Howl. I'll probably get offered another Gore Howl. And then, of course, you had War Cash, so you had a lot more weapons. All of that's gone. Like, you shouldn't be getting Gore Howls anymore. And then you have all these very small weapons. Very small weapons. Like, the biggest one that you're reliably going to get is a variant of the Trident, the Fiery War Axe, and the King's Defender. So that's the state of warrior weapons. It sucks.
Yep. Yeah, there's not a lot of weapons happening in warriors, so you still think of warriors as the weapon class, but not. The good old school weapons did not come on board yet. This is the time period of just kind of not a lot of good focus on warrior for the weapons. Okay. So Asheron Trident is actually good. It is a fiery war axe, 3 mana, 3/2. And then it says Death Rattle. Put a Sunken Trident on the bottom of your deck. And a Sunken Trident is a 3 mana, 3/2 trident, fiery war axe basically. But after your hero attacks, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. So consecrate every time you attack, but without dealing face damage. That's very good. And remember, you don't have weapons, so getting another weapon in itself is just very good. And this one consecrates. So the Trident is good. Putting something down there is good. You're gonna have to dredge it up, but yeah. So this is a B. It would be higher if it were not a fiery war axe.
Hey, what's next?
Is Obsidian Smith. This is how you dredge it up. Obsidian Smith is a B. It is a 2 mana 3/2 pirate, Battlecry Dredge. If it is a minion or a weapon, give it +1/+1. You put the weapon down there, then you dredge it up, and it becomes a super weapon. But even better, also if it's a minion, it gets +1/+1. So even if you don't seed your stuff down there, you're going to get a minion. You're also a warrior. It's not like you have good spells to dredge up anyway. You're going to get a minion or a weapon. So you are going to get a bonus.
It's just probably not a weapon. So it's probably a minion. But it's nice.
Yeah.
B is quite good for a 2 mana 3/2.
2 mana 3/2 is normally a D+.
Yep.
As in... Actually, it is not a D+. It is actually a D. It falls below a D+. And this one is a B. So it's the dredge and the +1/+1 is doing a lot of work for this card. And it should. Those are very good parts of the card. So after this, you have a couple C cards. First one is Guard the City. 2 mana, gain 3 armor. It's a spell. 2 mana, gain 3 armor. Summon a 2/3 Naga with Taunt. Fine. It's like a beetle, but the spell version of a beetle that's a Naga instead of a beast. Then you have Blackscale Brute. Blackscale Brute is a 7 mana 5/6 Naga with Taunt, which is terrible. But it has a battle cry that says, if you have a weapon equipped, summon a 5/6 Naga with Rush. So if you have a weapon equipped when you play this, it is a 5/6 Taunt and a 5/6 Rush, which is super good. But again, not a lot of weapons. So you gotta hold the weapon for this if you are wanting to trigger and putting it in your deck. So this is a C, which is a little bit better than a Yeti, but what it really is an unplayable card or an A tier card, depending on if you have that weapon synergy working or not.
All right, that's basically it. Sometimes this card absolutely blows. Rarely, it'll be amazing.
Not that rarely. You can control when you're using the weapons.
Yeah, but then you're also not using the weapon.
Yeah.
It's pretty awkward. All right, next.
Next is the legendary card, another C. This is Lady Ashvane, 5 mana 5/5. Battle Cry, give all weapons in your hand, deck, and battlefield +1/+1. Again, not many weapons, but +1/+1 is very good if you get it to trigger. Otherwise, it's 5 mana 5/5, which is not very good.
Yeah. Even just hitting a weapon with +1/+1 is good. So that's why we're there. Okay, let's finish off with some F cards. Yes, multiple F cards.
3 cards are F. So Warrior has some good cards in this expansion, but it's very polarized. So the first one that you should not draft is Forged in Flame. It is 2 mana. It says destroy your weapon, then draw cards equal to its attack. You don't have weapons to destroy to draw. And the weapons that you do have, you really don't want to destroy because there's very few weapons that you do have. And you're only going to get like 3 cards out of it. And you destroy your weapon. It's bad. Next one is the Fires of Zin Azshari, which is an epic card, so it's a good thing that it won't you won't see it very often because you will never pick it. It is a 2 mana spell. Replace your deck with minions that cost 5 or more. They cost 5 mana. You may think, okay, oh, this is so good, right? Like, we're going to replace them with a whole bunch of 8 drops. They're all going to cost 5. I'm going to be able to play 2 of these at a time and then just super tempo out. Super good. No, random minions are bad. They are just bad. Random minions is not what you want to do. I don't know how. It's not random minions from the Voyage to the Sunken City set. It's random minions. This includes the old sets, all the sets in the arena. It's a lot of bad minions in there, even at 5 mana. And on top of all that, in order to play this card, you are down 1 card.
Yeah. Okay, so I read other people's reviews. First of all, Twitch chat will want this all the time. I understand why. It is definitely a Twitch chat card. I also read Taro's review, and Taro actually rated it like above average. And here is where I think we disagree, because when I read Taro's review, he was like, okay, here's what you want to do with this card. You want to play this on turn 2 such that but here's what it requires. Here's what it requires. And I agree that is actually your best case scenario. Yes. What you want to do with this is you want to spend your turn 2, once again, you reduce a card in your hand, you skip your turn 2, you have to have in hand already, and turn he specifies this 4. As well. Turn 3 and turn 4. Because if you don't have that, you have nothing. Once again, you can never, once you go down this path, you can never have that anymore. And then you have 3 turns, right? You have your turn 3, turn 4, and then your turn 5 to draw something that is really good. Yeah. Like, so
like something that should be 8 mana. It doesn't have to be like an objectively good card, but if it's 5 mana for an 8 mana card, it's going to be good.
Yep, you just cheating out like a okay 7-drop isn't even that great. Like you need to
you
get
already step back for 2 mana. Like you already skipped your turn 2.
Right. So it is a huge high roll. And that's kind of the best case scenario, because here is really the problem. Once again, if you turn your entire deck into things that cost 5, even if you get, like, let's say, a great 8-cost minion, unless you are at 10 mana and you have drawn 2 of these, you can only play 1 max.
Yeah, until turn 10.
Until turn 10. So there is this very awkward situation as well in the middle in which you aren't actually getting any sort of mana advantage. You're getting sort of this advantage in which it's like, oh, maybe I just got a super good card, right? Maybe I got a colossal minion. Maybe you did, in which case you got very lucky. But man, this is awkward. So I can see why some people like it, as in they're just like, I don't even care. I'm just going to draft it. I want to play it. I want, those Trollden moments. I completely understand. I think even if you're looking at the best case scenario, which was laid out, as in the best case scenario is you playing it on turn 2. That's gotta
happen only like 5 to 10% of the time. Like, for you to have turn 3 and turn 4 and this card on turn 2.
It's not going to happen super often. But if you want to maximize the game-winning potential of this card, that is what you have to do. So I do agree with that analysis there, 100%.
Yeah, but so when you say that is what you have to do, you don't mean that is what you have to actively do. You mean that is what has to magically fall into place.
That
because
is
you
what
have
has to
zero
fall into
control over it.
place. Right. That is what has to fall into place. And then, of course, like you said, if you're playing this later on, you run into that problem, right? Where, like, what's your first draw? Is it going to be good? Okay. Well, if it's not good, because sometimes it'll just be a crappy six drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
In which case, that's worse than whatever
You
it
had in
was
your
that you were
deck.
going to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like you're hoping for a really, really good minion, not just like a cheap good minion. You're looking for just a really good minion, period. Because once again, we're coming up with this like it's like, oh well, I get to save and then I get to hero power for 2 armor. So yeah, the ideal chance to play this card is actually not later on because you don't get as many chances to get ahead
Mm-hmm.
actually. It is to play it on turn 2, hopefully, with the turn 3, turn 4 follow up, so that on turn 5, if you play a strong 8 drop, yeah, you probably do win. Like you absolutely do win. But then, damn, that setup was elaborate in order to pull that off. So I don't see it. I
So
do know like some people I think do see this as like better than an F. I
no.
certainly don't.
So what this means is like if your deck is terrible to a certain point, you can definitely take this card because at that point, why not, right? Like if you're gonna just lose everything straight up, like at least this will RNG it. It's a card like that. So it's not necessarily a never pick, but if you're trying to win the game and you have an average like quality deck, you can't take this card. This card will just ruin you because every single time that you don't play it, remember it's a dead card in your hand. It is taking up a spot, and you only have like 4 options in your hand. So you're reducing one of the options, which makes your skill matter 25% less. Not to mention the actual like penalty of the deadness. Like this is maybe if you were a bad player, you can play this card. But as a good player, you can't play this card. You cannot put this card in any deck unless the deck is so absolutely terrible that you have no other way to like conceivably like win. And even in that case, you're looking to like, I don't know, get like 4 wins by luck or 5 wins maybe at most. If you're lucky.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
So the last one is From the Depth. From the Depth is a rare card, 3 mana. It's a spell. Reduce the cost of the bottom 5 cards in your deck by 3 mana. Then Dredge. So again, you are not drawing a card. Dredge does not draw a card. So you transfer 3 mana onto the bottom of your deck, and then you set which one you're going to pick. So you are down 1 card, and you got to make up for it somehow. And you can't make up for it this turn, you make up for it next turn. So what are you getting the next turn? Well, you better have put something down there. Because if you're just getting a card in your deck that is good, you've lost a card. This card. So this is terrible unless you're actually putting cards at the bottom of your deck. And remember, you're warrior. So what are you putting on the bottom of your deck? The Trident. That is the only card you have that puts a card on the bottom of your deck. Everything else is just the neutral stuff. So you don't even have like synergies to set this stuff up. So don't take it. Do take it if you get that legendary, right? Like or something like that. But generally don't take it. Because there's legendary that adds a bunch of colossals in the bottom of your deck. In that case, yes, you want every single card that has the word dredge in it, no matter what. But generally, no.
Right.
So that's Warrior. I mean, the good cards are fine. There's a lot of bad cards that's going to limit your offering rate issues. And overall, the class is suffering from a lack of weapons, which Warriors kind of need to run. And you see how Warriors are right now. Alteric wasn't particularly great to Warriors. United and Stormwind, if you guys don't remember, was not that great to Warriors. It's not like Warriors don't have good cards. It's that it's Warrior. You guys remember Arena Warriors Matter, right? Like, that was because Warriors just generally had bad cards. Or they didn't even have bad cards. They had pretty good cards, actually. But the lack of hero power was so damaging. Well, here, The lack of hero power is less damaging than before because hero powers are used less often than back in the day, but still pretty damaging. And on top of that, this meta has no weapons. You cannot have a successful warrior without weapons unless you're doing that like Dragon Roar stuff. And there's no dragons in warrior either here. So you've got just you're playing straight up, and you don't have weapons, and you don't have enough initiative, and you don't have a hero power. So whatever, like no amount of good cards is going to make up for that. You need S tier cards to make up for that, and Warriors don't have S tier cards in this meta.
Yep. It's going to be a rough time for Warriors.
Bottom of the barrel again. Well,
all right.
That's it. That's every single card. Every single card in this expansion. What is the class you're most excited to play in this new expansion?
I don't actually know. I want to see what weird bugs come out. But I think just even like the new, because the neutrals are really where it's at. This is the strongest neutral package we have had in a long time. Because remember, we have had tons of extraordinarily powerful cards come out. Those have mostly been class cards. Like just
and the neutral ones that are super strong get banned.
Yeah. So the neutral cards just don't really stick around. Like, we had Spammy with the epic bug is like, oh, that's super powerful. But then, we don't really have Spammy anymore. And then for something like United and Stormwind, we had Battleground Battlemaster, but that was before it got nerfed. And then everything else has gotten like nerfed, if not, just sort of phased out. Sunken City is very, very heavy on the premium neutrals. So if we don't have the epic bug, that would be great because that will limit the Amalgam of the Deep and limit school teachers. If we do have the epic bug, man, it's going to get real ugly because that introduces a ton of problematic cards. I'm not saying that the meta will be fine without it, because if there's no epic bug, that just means there's more room for more Gangplank Divers, more Bronze Explorers. It's not great. Like, if you guys see, is the meta fantastic right now? No, and part of it is if you draft Paladin, since they're not drafting epics, which I understand, it's like, oh, I'm happy with less Templar captains. I'm sure you are, but I'm sure you're not happy about the 3 Bronze Explorers that the Paladin has. And like it's sort of take one thing away, another thing pops up. It's whack-a-mole. But yeah, I don't. It's going to be very neutral kind of focus when it comes to the new set. So I'll see how it plays out. I don't think I'm particularly excited about any single class, but I will try to do some wacky stuff. Like, I'll try to make Murloc Warlock work. Who knows, right? Like, I think maybe I'll just draft a Paladin, hope to get some Murloc Knights, and just make my opponents rage quit from summoning Gigafin off of it. They better take that away, by the way. Like, that is actually supremely toxic. Like, I can see people just trying to cheese out wins by, like, turn 3 coining that out, and then turn 4 hero powering and playing something else and be like,
the percent chance is so low.
It's so low.
I don't even care. Like, you're just gonna roll over these people that try this.
Wait, you don't even care that they can just inspire and get a 7/4 with a 4/7 taunt? It's like there is just a percent chance that they just win, right? That they just
there's a very tiny percent chance. Very tiny. Very tiny.
Well, why are we introducing that?
Well, it's not we're introducing it. It's just that's how it's always been. I don't mind that because Murloc.
Well, it hasn't always been like that with Murloc Knight.
No,
you're saying it's
this set does introduce larger Murlocs than usual, even aside from the Colossus one. So Murloc Knight has actually gotten significantly better than what it was back in the day because you used to only have small Murlocs. Now we have like mid-sized Murlocs.
Okay. So that's it. That's my answer.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to play Druid because Miracle Growth looks ridiculous. Aquatic Form, like I want to get some good, solid Druid action going on in this upcoming expansion, and see where that goes. It's got enough ridiculous cards to kind of hang in there, but it's not like I don't need necessarily the legendaries at least to hang my hat on, and it'll be nice to play. Not Paladin. Paladin will be the best. Definitely. They have the Explorer. There's nothing else you need to know. So, yeah. And my other prediction is if Paladin is the best, then that means Rogue is going to be at least okay, if not actively good. And same with Demon Hunter, because those are your counters to Paladin. So that's where I see the meta going. But of course, we don't know. It can really do anything. Yeah. All right. Let's end this here. One last round of shoutouts to our Patreons. Patreon.com/GrinningGoat. If you're listening to this on a podcast or YouTube, that's the way to support us. If you're watching on Twitch subs are totally great. We love Twitch subs, Prime subs, all that. But from our Patreon, the top supporters are RV Night Train, Eric L, Yin, Ari G, Dan F, and Karova. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you to everyone watching live on Twitch, anyone watching the VODs on YouTube, anyone listening on our podcast. We appreciate you. All right. Also, a shout out to all of those helping us make our podcasts, make our VODs, and our Twitch streams. That's all of our mods. I see you there in the channel. That's David Attenborough Says, doing the uploads tonight and putting together the thumbnails for YouTube. And Soren for the 12 wins that are going to come rolling in once this expansion starts. If you are listening to this, our stream schedule for Twitch is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. Tuesday being a co-op, and then Wednesday and Friday I'll do alone. I don't know if Merps will drop by or not. But yeah, and then we go back to the regular schedule. So yeah, really excited for those games as well. Anything you want to add before we actually end this?
Nope. Have fun getting dove, you idiots. Goodbye.
Divers. The answer to diving is to counter dive. Have a good night, everybody. Until next week, this is ADWCTA.
This is Merp. See ya.